Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price. Talking to you about you and your business. Got my good friend Brian Spitz here in the studios. He's here every Tuesday talking about things going on in the real estate front. And he's got a guest for us here on today's program. Do want to mention that Brian does a great job with his company, Big State House Deals, correct? And also home buyers.
Right, Big State Home Buyers.
Yeah, and that's what we want to drive people to, because that's your place to really get an overview of everything that you're involved in as far as real estate. And so, BigStateHomeBuyers.com. Kind of give us your elevator pitch before you introduce your guests.
Sure. At Big State, what we do is we market to people who are interested in selling their properties as is, whether they need repairs or not, for a cash price and a sale within 15 days, 30 days, depending on the seller's preference. And then once we acquire these properties, we sell them to real estate investors that want to purchase properties at a discount, remodel them, and either put them on the market for resale or rent the properties out. Mm-hmm. So we service both sellers and buyers, and we have separate teams within our company that handle these different clients. We also handle all paperwork and file processing. We get people's liens and judgments cleared, payoffs, and fix estate problems. But in our business of selling properties to real estate investors, we also help people find the right people to fix the properties, the right ways to borrow money, the right insurance companies. These are all people that we're not affiliated with. They're third parties, but they're people that we recommend or people we've done business with. And today I have Alex on the show with Trinity Foundation Repair, and Alex has repaired many houses for me. He's done a lot of foundation and plumbing work on properties that I've bought to flip, and he's knows the investment business. I think you do some investing yourself.
I do. I've been investing for about 10 years now myself.
Awesome. Well, can you talk directly into that mic? Make sure so we can hear you very well. So you've been involved in the investment front yourself. Kind of give us your a little bit of history about your company, Alex.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having me. And Trinity Foundation Repair, I've had it for 9 years now. I actually got it started due to the fact that I got frustrated without not being able to find a foundation company that could help investors. I, at that time, was working for a major foundation company here in town, and I knew what the cost was to do foundation work. So nothing against some of the major companies. They're great at what they do. It's just our niche is working for real estate investors only. The properties we work on must be vacant in order for us to help you, and that way we're able to pass a lot of the savings on to the investor, which matters a lot.
So if they're vacant, you can do things obviously quicker, a little more expeditious.
Definitely.
And what are some other advantages that allows you to drive prices down?
Well, no personal property belongings in the house, which drives the cost of insurance way down. It's a big factor. Time, obviously, the faster we can do the job. A lot of the things that would normally be an issue on an occupied home, it's not an issue on a vacant, like doors sticking. Sometimes the front door may not be able to latch anymore after we're done, which becomes a security issue on an occupied home. And it's not an issue for some of these investment homes where they're coming in and getting rehabbed after we're done with them.
Yeah, very good, very good. Brian?
What do you think some of the myths are about foundation repair? A lot of people see foundation damage and they think this is going to be $20,000, $25,000, even for the slightest job. And I encounter that all the time. So what would you like to say to people about houses with foundation problems?
That's probably one of the first questions I get asked when I give one of our estimates is, how can you do it so much cheaper? Again, nothing to take away from the other major companies, because I think they do have a service in this industry. But in our particular case, Trinity Foundation Repair, we're charging so much cheaper than most of the other companies. The biggest myth as far as the price goes is the cost of doing the job with us in comparison to what some of these major companies is probably a third. And it varies. I cannot give a price just based on, hey, it's so many square feet. It does vary house to house because of the severity of the slab itself, but it can be done. I can almost guarantee we blow it out of the water every time.
Wow. How many people do you have working in your organization?
Well, we work in Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas-Fort Worth. So in all, we have probably about 50 guys working. We have between sales reps and the actual people doing the execution of the work.
And how long, again, have you been doing it?
9 years. I've been doing it for 9 years.
Brian?
Yeah.
And so tell us, I know from personal experience from using you that you guys offer foundation warranties and some, the same services that some of the larger companies offer. So I wanted to, I guess hear about what that means, a foundation warranty, and also what you think, about, the foundations in Houston in general. I know they're two separate questions, but.
Right. Well, in the warranty itself, yes, we do offer a lifetime transferable warranty like a lot of the major companies do. That pretty much doesn't change. We're right in line with that. As far as the foundations here in town, it really varies on the area of town. I would say on the north end of town, Spring, Conroe, all that, tends to have less severity as if you were on the south end. Anything like
especially the southwest is a nightmare.
Oh yeah, Sugarland, Missouri City, down to Pearland, all the way down to Dickinson. In fact, we've got a couple jobs going on in League City and Dickinson today and tomorrow. And an average job down there is probably twice the size as it's up north. But they're all repairable. I mean, by all means, it can definitely be repaired.
Yeah. Do you think that there's more foundation problems in this city than other parts of the state or other cities?
No. I can tell you it's pretty much the same everywhere. In fact, being able to work in all three major cities here.
But all of those are notoriously dry.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of the deal. So I would say that it may be different, I would assume, in other parts of the country, but it's because all of those areas. I mean, Dallas, I went to college in Abilene, so at Abilene Christian University, and so Dallas is a lot like West Texas, even though it's further east in terms of the terrain. And, man, those are just hellish on a foundation. Yeah,
it's completely different. I tell you, if you go to San Antonio, for example, or anywhere up in the Austin area, it's a lot of rock, but they still have problems. Yeah. In fact, what it does is it makes it harder for us to do the job out there. And here in the Houston area, we have a lot of that black gumbo that it's just basically clay soil, and expands and contracts with the weather so much. It does cause it to where the severity here in town, in Houston area, tends to be a little bit more than other areas of the state.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, it's almost foregone that at some point you're going to have foundation problems. You would think the kind of work that you do retro, they would do just on the front end to prevent that from happening, but I guess that would add significantly to a cost of home.
Absolutely. I mean, the builders, I can't blame them because they can only pier a house once it's put there.
Right.
Because we use the weight of the structure itself to drive the piers in the ground, and we drive them to the point of refusal, which means that we're pushing our pier into the ground to where instead of pushing the pier downward, it actually picks up the house, and at that point we know we can jack the house up.
And you're really not going to know what you need until you actually need it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the dilemma there. So and I certainly would not be one to want to add more regulations on the building industry. By no means. That would not be something I would be calling for. Brian, last thoughts before we close?
Well, I just, like I said, wanted to introduce Alex and bring him in because I personally have used him many times, and I know that they've worked very quickly. You can call a lot of foundation companies, and they'll tell you you've got a 3 or 4 month wait, especially after the drought we had a couple of years ago. What's your average wait time for someone who needs a foundation job?
Our average lead time right now is probably about a week out as far as doing the work, and 24 to 48 hours on getting out there to give an estimate. Again, we only work for real estate investors. That's one of our niches, and you'll hear very few companies that do that. So I hate to tell you, but I don't think we can work for everyone that's out there in your public, but we can definitely help all of your real estate investors, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, real quick, your website?
I don't have a website, and that's part of the reason because we don't work for regular consumers, but I'll give you my email address. It's very simple. It's TriityFoundationRepair, all one word, TriityFoundationRepair @gmail.com, and I'll give you my number too. It's 281-221-2166, 281-221-2166. Also, you can always reach us through Big State Home Buyers.
Sure.
We have.
You only work with irregular clients like Brian.
Right.
And Brian, again, BigStateHomebuyers.com. And if you're interested in looking at the houses, which I do 2 or 3 times a week, you just click that investors button, and there you're at it. And I encourage people to do that. BigStateHomebuyers.com, 713-574-0570. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have more for you. I do want to encourage you to stay tuned to it. Do want to remind you, of course, the show never ends, continuing 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.